Blah, y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama. Aha! Just kidding. Y si tú quieres cambiar tu vida, if you want to change your life, then subscribe. Ching! And by the way, guys, I just published a book out on Amazon called Shabbat in Chicago. It's about my mom, who's an audacious single mom who opens her heart and home to five adopted kids while embracing her Latino culture while being Jewish. And today we have a very special guest who I consider a brother, a friend, a family, the one and only Ben. Woo!
What's up, man?
What's up, brother? It's an honor. You don't understand, man. You've been the toughest guest to get out of everybody. You know what I'm saying?
I'm so sorry. So sorry.
You're too popular. You know what I'm saying?
I wish.
Oh man, but look, brother, I wanted to share a little story, right? So the fans to know like how we met. So back, I would say about 4 years ago, Peter, who we were already friends on social media, he was like, "Hey, brother, I'm gonna perform at the Daylight Beach Club. You should come through." I said, "Man, it's an honor, brother." And I've been following him for a while because he's from Chicago too. So I was like, "Man, this is so cool." I get there looking all fresh. And before like Peter or DJ Sincere, he was doing his music.
Exactly.
He saw me from the crowd. He's like, "Hey, brother, let's take a picture." I said, "Yeah, for sure." And it was nice that he spotted me, right away. And I was like, "Brother, you think I could come up with you to the VIP section?" He goes, "Maybe a little later. Right now, it's a little tricky, but I got you." I said, "Cool." So I go to the bar. I meet some girls. I start dancing, and I was like, "Man, I gotta find out how to get in." So I see these bottle service girls, right? And I say, "Hey, real quick, can I ask you a question?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Look, I want to surprise my friend. He's a big DJ. He's right there. He's performing. I want to surprise him. I'm one of his close friends. Is there a way you can like show me how to get up there?" She's like, "Yeah, go straight, take the stairs, make a right. You're there." I'm like, "Cool, thank you." So I go up the stairs and I see this big security guard, big guy, and I just walk by him like I know where I'm going. He gets the flashlight, like, "Yo, yo, 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 where you go? Like, you're not supposed to be here." I said, "Yes, sir. I'm actually with the DJ." "Oh, my bad. Right this way." So I get in. I see Peter, and he goes, "Brother, how'd you get in?" I said, "Brother, if they ask, just say that I came with you. I'm part of the gig. Like, they hire you, but I'm your boy." He's all right, cool. So I get there, and I'm meeting you, Ben, for the first time, and all your friends. Okay, it's like I'm not lying, maybe 30 of you guys. This is like the biggest crew I've ever met, and you guys are getting like a lot of bottles. Okay, there's a moment I was like, I gotta find a way to click with all the crew, right? And find a way to kind of like feel part of the group. So I don't like the security guards know that I belong here, I gotta fit in. So some reason one of your friends, Ben, was talking about stocks. I don't know anything about stocks. So he asked me a question. He's like, "Hey Dave, what do you think about stocks right now? What's going on?" So I had to be smart. You know what I said? I said, "Honestly, brother, I got these new pairs of socks and they're fire. Right now, Marshalls, they have a special for 2 for 1." He starts laughing. I got the whole crowd laughing about socks. Now we changed the subject about socks. And it was so cool because at that moment I broke the ice and I changed the subject to something that I like to talk about. Crazy thing, I made you laugh so hard, Ben. At the end of the night, you're like, "Bro, you seem like a really cool guy. Look, man, I'm having a party tomorrow. It's Ben's bad party. We're actually gonna dress up, like have like something like a shirt that says something silly, but I want you to come through. You seem like a cool guy." I'm like, "For real? Like, you're serious?" "Brother, trust me. Here, get my number. We'll make it happen." And it was so nice because that day I went with Peter. Peter got there first, but he's like, "Bro, that's amazing, bro. You're gonna like Ben." I get to your party, one of the best places I've ever been. You had like catering, music, coolest thing ever. I met a lot of people, but that was my first impression, brother, when I met you. What about you? Anything that came up? I know it was a long night, but anything?
First of all, it wasn't me because I've never bought a bottle before. I wouldn't pay that much money for a bottle of alcohol, so that wasn't me. Second of all, I want to talk about socks for a second since you brought it up. Like I'm about the no show socks, like that no show white tennies. It's great. My daughter and all these high school kids, they're all about these like they pull the socks up to right under the knee now, right? And they're like colored socks, and they're like they have to have a logo on them. They have to be like Adidas or Nike. And so I mean, what type of socks do you wear nowadays?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I wear the Nike. Yes, yes.
Oh man, you and all the 14-year-old kids. Take off that hat. Do you got that llama haircut that all the high school kids have nowadays too, or
I
what?
do. It's kind of
Oh,
silly. I
all
said.
right. You're gonna fit right in with the teenagers. That's fine. All right. That's fine.
Oh man,
No, I gotta admit, these Vegas nights, they kind of blend together. Before my big party, we always go out the night before, though. So it sounds like a pre-bad party night where we were up there hanging out with Peter. But yeah, man, it's good to meet you that night. I'm glad we did.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. And like I said, man, it's an honor. Your family's very nice, especially your mom, very sweet people. So I'm very thankful, to build this relationship. And not only that, like I feel like after like 2 years, about 3 years later, you invited me to your first like my first movie night at your house,
Yeah.
and that was so cool. I was like, man, this is so cool. I'm in with the big leagues. I'm moving up, man. You know what I'm saying? And it was so nice. I felt it was fun. We had a good time. Had
Good.
like a cigar, so it was nice. I do want you to share too, brother. Please, if you can, like, tell us a little bit about your background, like your childhood, and like any hobbies you have. It'll mean a lot to get a little bit more about you.
Sure. Well, I'll start with the hobbies first, I guess. Spending time with my daughter, obviously the number one hobby. I feel like, the days are fleeting. You feel like she's 14 now, just about turned 15. And I'm starting to feel the weekends counting down, how many weekends I got left, how many it's like, oh, we got spring break. We just finished up. She's got 3 more spring breaks. So now the countdown's kind of coming on and my mental clock is going off on, losing the days and the time with her. So that's probably my biggest hobby. I just like hanging out with her. But if I don't have her, she's with her mom at her mom's house. I love playing piano. I don't get to play nearly as much as I used to be able to play, but I love playing piano. I do enjoy a cigar from time to time, as as people will laugh about. Probably too many cigars, actually. And really, I really enjoy biking. That's really been kind of my passion the past few years. Is just like getting on my e-bike or a regular bike and just cruising around and exploring. But that's what I love to do. As far as my background, just like you, I'm from Chicago. I hate when people say that. I'm not really from Chicago. I'm from the Northwest side. I'm from Palatine, Illinois. Go Pirates. And so, yeah, I grew up there. Went to the University of Illinois down in Champaign, Illinois. Did 5 years down there. I did the bonus year. Graduated with an integrated molecular physiology degree and just never used it. I thought I wanted to be a doctor. I ended up moving to Vegas to work for McDonald's, the hamburger flipping people. I was working in their event and creative department for a regional division out here is what they moved me out here. And so, yeah, that's how I got my career in events and media is through McDonald's Corporation. I was working for a small group. Actually, the story goes back all the way to high school. When I was in Palatine, I had a TV show on cable. It's called Ben TV, and it ran on TV for 2 years. We won a couple awards. And it was just kind of like at the time, this is the 90s. I'm going to date myself here, but it was like the Wayne's World time, where people just wanted to get out and just shoot video. And my friend worked for the cable station. And so there was two things. There was a local origination channel and there was a public access channel. Public access was anyone could just grab a camera and go shoot video and they could get something on TV. Local origination meant it had to originate from someone that worked at the cable station. So it was a little bit higher of a level, but that's the station we were on because my friend worked for the cable station. And so for 2 years we shot video, and there's this new McDonald's that opened up. And in high school, it's like you want to, everyone congregates at the new fast food joint. So everyone would meet at McDonald's. We'd hang out. A bunch of the football players, cheerleaders, all my friends that worked. It was just a big hangout spot. Well, we shot a TV commercial there once. It said, "Hey, say you saw this manager who we loved. His name is Hilton. I hope someday he watches this. Say you saw Hilton on Ben TV, and you get a free drink with your extra value meal." And so all the kids would flood in there and get it. Somehow, some way, McDonald's saw this video and they're like, "You need to hire this kid," you know. And so they hired me. So that's how I got hired when I was about 16, working for McDonald's Corporation. I was working for what was at that time the West Division, or I'm sorry, not the West Division, Chicago Division. And they just hired me, and I would intern there throughout the summer, and I would intern there on spring break, and then by the time I graduated high school, I went to college. They're like, "Hey, you should come back and intern with us during college," and I did. So for about 6 years, I interned with them, and I was working with a group of people. It was headed up by this guy named Mike Roberts, and then Jimmy Hopewell was working for him, and then Dave was working for him. So it was three of us. I didn't realize the plan that McDonald's had, and Mike, the leader of this small group, was being fast tracked to McDonald's. So he was a regional, I don't know what they called it, regional president, regional director, whatever it was. And by the time I graduated college, he was the president of McDonald's USA. So he was the number one guy. And it turns out what he was looking to do is he was looking to circumvent using internal McDonald's resources and having to do billbacks. So if you want to do a marketing meeting, the marketing department would charge you $50,000 to do a meeting. He decided he was going to get this group of a few of us together, and we would just get the money for that marketing meeting. We would go buy equipment, and then we could do it ourselves. It was a way for him to effectively cut a lot of the red tape. And so I was able to learn and listen and watch and see how he operated and how he worked with this division within McDonald's. That's how I learned a lot about what I learned about running a business. So when I moved to Vegas, we decided 6 months after I moved to Vegas, we didn't want to work for McDonald's anymore. And we started our own company doing the same thing. So I own an event and media company here in Vegas. I've owned two different ones. This is my second one. And we do kind of what I did with McDonald's for Fortune 50, Fortune 100 clients. And that's what brought me to Vegas from Chicago, is really the cheeseburgers. And to this day, I love me a McRib. You know how much I love McRib. It's like my favorite. I know I'm gonna get a lot of haters about this, but one of my specialties is, I can tell you, the best thing on every fast food menu. And at McDonald's, it is, for a limited time, the McRib sandwich with the Dr. Pepper. That's the way to go.
Oh, that sounds fire, brother. I'm not gonna lie. I'm saying.
Good. Good.
Oh man, no, that's so cool, but I never knew that about you, like that part about Chicago. So that's really nice how they loved you just from that one day. They're like, yo, we gotta hire him. You had that gift, so it's amazing how you took everything that you learned, right? And you build your own company, which is a beautiful thing, right? You're making big moves. I'm proud of you, brother. I love it. I want you to share too, like, who gave you the idea, or when did you start your Ben's bad party? Like, I want to know, like, the original, like, please.
Well, I gotta actually humbly give credit to that party to my ex-wife. She's the one that kind of thought of that party back when we were married. And this year it's in June, and it's going to be the 19th year of the party. So it's hard to believe we've been doing it 19 years. We had to take a year off for COVID, of course, but it's the 19th party we've done, so over 20 years. And it started out being, the bad party was just like, we're all going to wear really old shirts that have mustard on it. It was just going to be like, your crappy t-shirt party, right? And over time it evolved, and tied with bad food, so very gluttonous food like Twinkies, cheeseburgers, tacos, all that stuff. And then bad music. We were going to listen to like 80s and 90s music that we call bad, but we all love and sing along to, right? So, and then it was like the ratty tatty t-shirt. Well, over time it evolved into just becoming, who could come up with the most offensive t-shirt, who could offend the most people. And kind of, I tell my friends, hey, if you're going to come to this party, you got to check your feelings at the door, because this is just a fun party. Everyone's supposed to have fun. And it just turned out to be kind of the offensive t-shirt party. We still call it the bad party, because I think that is a little more classy, if you will. But that's where it started. It started 20 years ago from my ex-wife. And when we got divorced, she didn't want to continue it. So I decided to continue it myself. So here we are.
Whoa, that's wild, man. That's amazing. And please, do you have any like memories of a funny story or anything that you could think of? Like, because I mean, that's a lot of parties, but was there something that like you can never forget that happened at your party? Please, if you know one or two stories, I'm down. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there was a stabbing one year at the party. Some girl and her boyfriend got into a fight. She pulled out a knife. He turned it around on her. She got stabbed, like in her arm or something like that. She's in the neighbor's yard bleeding. My neighbor calls me and says, your friend is bleeding in my front yard. Cops come. He gets taken away. He was in the military too, so it sucks for him. I'm sure something really bad happened to him. But the best part about that, it's not a funny story, but the next year, there's a group of people that came to the party and they had T-shirts that said, "I survived the Brownback stabbing."
Oh, wow, that's
So,
wild, bro.
and honestly, I can't tell you any other stories. Those are just,
Man.
I'll tell you off. We're not on
Okay.
a podcast. There's some wild ones. There's always some wild ones. There have been many relationships started and ended.
Yes, I know that for sure. Yeah, yeah. That's too funny, man. No, it's really nice. I like that every party it's like a different theme, right? I remember you had like a group of people that performed like a live I don't know if they were from Hawaii, but they were like dressed in like Hawaiian outfits and they were like they had like their little guitar
Oh,
and
that
it
was my
was
birthday.
that
That was
was
my
your
birthday.
birthday.
Yeah, because I did a birthday palooza where I had like five or six different bands play in my backyard, and DJs play throughout my backyard throughout the evening. Yeah, that was a birthday palooza.
Wow. Yeah, that was a dope time, brother. I'm not gonna lie. I had so much fun, man. Like even like when you do like your Christmas parties, I like that everyone's like they could participate, right? When we do the elephant exchange. I think that's really cool. I think I got a toilet last time. Someone gave me the potty. I don't know what it was, but it was the funniest thing ever. I was
Oh,
like,
there's a squatty potty.
there you go, squatty potty, yeah.
Better be using that. It's really good. I mean, it's for your health. You should be using the squatty potty all the time. Squatty potty. If you're looking for an endorsement, you're looking for someone to rep you, just throw your commissions my way. Squatty potty. It's the way to go for you.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I'm glad I can still use it. I'm glad I can still use it. But brother, I want you to share too, right? One thing too, if you could share, you know, you're always traveling. I always see you're at Cabo or you're like in a different country or state. Please tell us, like, I know you travel a lot. How do you have time to like at the same time have balance and like have time for your kid, you know, at the same time?
That's a great question. We all get the same 24 hours. And to start with, I don't sleep a whole lot. It's not super healthy for you, and I know I need to sleep more. That's one thing I'm trying to work on. It's hard, scheduling an hour and a half a day to work out, getting time with your kid, working, and then setting aside for your time for yourself. I think at my darkest time, right after I got divorced and I lost my first business, the way I got through it was by always putting aside time for myself. It's almost like you need to put it in your calendar. And my time was always 9 p.m. to like midnight. And I always wanted to smoke a cigar, have a drink, and watch a movie. And my daughter knew that time she can always come in and say, "Can I help with something?" Whatever. But that was kind of my time to have a friend over. Even when I had her, it was just my time. And I think that selfishly, I've always been good at blocking out time for myself in the day, whether it be an hour, whether it be 2 hours, whether it be the end of the day, whatever it is, just blocking out time for yourself, and then block your time around that. And I live by my calendar. I live and die by my calendar. My daughter has learned that if she needs something from me, she'll send me a calendar reminder. She'll put something on my calendar. That's how I live. I'm a schedule based person. I'm back in the day. We used to have day timers. I mean, that's again, I'm really dating myself. I used to carry around a day timer, and that was my thing. And then came the Palm Pilot, and then finally the iPhone, took over everything. But just setting aside time for yourself. When it comes to my daughter, that's hard. I think that I'm very hard on myself, and so I would say that I don't spend enough time with her, and that I don't block enough time for her. And I want to do more of that always, especially like I mentioned, time is very fleeting with her. But when you go back and look at it, it's like, how does a 30 I don't know, 35-year-old at the time, manage a newborn baby by himself as a single dad. And I really don't know. I mean, looking back on it, it's like I don't really know how I figured it out, because she was 2. I really didn't know what I was doing, right? And you look back at it and you're like, how did you do it? And you just do. As a parent, I think, even as an entrepreneur, you just do. You look back at it and you ask yourself how you did it, but the answer is always you just put your head down. You don't ask questions. You figure it out, and then you do a plus delta later. So you figure out what you did great, what you could improve on. And I think that a lot of people do the plus. So they talk a lot about, what they did great, but they don't often talk about the delta. It's hard to talk about what you want to change about your actions, your emotions, your scheduling. And it's only until you start doing that is how you step forward. I've got these benchmarks every year. It's like every birthday of my daughter, I want to know that I was a better dad in that last year than I was the year before. Every year on my birthday, I want to know that I'm fitter mentally, physically, emotionally than I was the previous year. And so I just use those years as bookmarks, benchmarks for where I want to be. But when it comes to my daughter, her birthday is coming up in April, and I just want to, when I review the previous year, know that we went on as many trips as I wanted to go on, that we had as many talks about life and teenage years, and how girls treat girls and how boys treat boys and what's important. Because as a dad, my job, my friends are always like, oh, when your daughter gets a boyfriend, are you gonna show him your guns? Are you gonna try to freak him out? Are you try to scare him? And I always joke around and say, no, if there's a little boy that wants to give her first kiss, I'll set it up. I'll take him to a movie. I'll do whatever. And they don't understand that concept. But I have a vastly different perspective on parenthood, and that's that I've taught her from the time she was born until yesterday night when we talked, that morals, values, how she should be treated, what she deserves to be treated, like how she needs to treat other people. A lot of women talk a lot about, I get this, I deserve this man should do this, and that's great, and they probably do deserve all those things, but it's a two-way street, and she needs to have as equal respect, love, caring, and emotions for whoever that person is. And I feel like I've worked hard for 14 years to teach her the right things, and my job is no longer to threaten other boys. My job is no longer to tell her what she has to do. My job is just to coach her and trust that I've done the right thing for 14 years and that she'll make the right decisions. And my job is to help her figure out her decisions. My job isn't to stop her from kissing a boy or going on a date or doing things like that. My job is just to lead her in the right direction, give her the right tools, and just hope that I've done my job and she can make the right decisions about when to have a drink, if at all, when to go to a party, when to, do whatever she's going to do. And that goes with relationships. I don't want to take her firsts. We all remember our first kiss, the first drink, the first things we remember who those people, you ask who your first kiss was, you know who that girl is, you know who that guy is, you know who that person is. And I, in a million years, would never want to take that from my daughter. In fact, I'm excited for her to experience those things. I just have to put the right things in place so that she makes the right decision. She's a smart girl. She's got a good head on her shoulders. She's got parents who love her. She's got friends who care about her, and she's going to make mistakes, but I'm hoping that she can make mistakes in the little things and, get the big things right. And that's what we focus on a lot when we talk at night. We just sit in the backyard and talk a little bit about life, or things that are bothering her, things that she's worried about. We have a very, very open relationship. I know everything about everything, things I don't want to know about, I know about. And she just trusts me because she knows that I'm not here to judge her or tell her what to do. I'm here to just weigh my opinion on things I've seen and just give her my advice. It's funny, I know I've been rambling for a minute, but when you see these high school kids walk out of high school, I can point at each one, I can tell you who they are. I can tell you, oh, that's the football player. He's going to probably drink a lot his senior year and get kicked off the team. Oh, that girl, she's the music major. She looks a little nerdy, but she's going to grow up to be this beautiful woman who's going to conquer the world. Oh, that girl, she's going to be a CEO someday. Oh, that girl, the people that you knew in your life growing up, these kids 30 years later are the exact same. It's bizarre. It's like I know your friend Aubrey, your friend Jenny. That was like my friend Stacy. That was my friend Julie. It's like they are identical copies of personality types of people that we all knew. Things just haven't changed in high school in a long time, and I've just really had a fun time being a dad with her, and it's sad. I was talking about the irony of the fact that I'm just feeling like I'm getting my stride. I feel like the first 10 years, 12 years, your job is just to keep your kid alive. But now we're having real conversations about real things in life, things that are going to impact her and her family and her kids and her job and her collegiate experience and all that stuff. I'm finally feeling like I'm catching my stride, and then she's going to be leaving for college. And I think that's the irony of parenting, is once you finally feel like you're getting it and then you've got it down, your kids don't need you anymore, or they need you in a different way. And so yeah, I don't know if I answered your question fully that way, but I got a lot to say about being a parent and my daughter in particular. So
Wow, brother, it was a beautiful thing what you said. I gotta be honest. You gotta give yourself some props. Like, I think you're a great dad, bro. Honestly, because I've seen what you do. I've seen like the videos, and I like that. I feel like that's very inspiring because it's sad, but men, we don't get a lot of credit of being a father or being a good dad. We're always pushed to the side. You don't really see that any light in us. And I think what you're doing is great, brother. I'm so proud of you because here's something that really stand out from you, and I could share this, is that every time your daughter graduates from like a grade school, I love that you record a little kind of like a question Q&A with her. And I gotta be honest, it's so genius of you for coming up with that, by the way, brother, because you're basically leaving a legacy for her. So when she gets older, she'll look back and be like, damn, my dad was so cool. Let me go back to this videotape or this video where, I just got second grade. I want to watch it, see how I've changed and I got bigger, and I think that's nice because I always say, you don't take money, you don't take power when you leave this earth, right? You take is how are people going to remember you? That's the big thing, right? And I think that it's a beautiful what you're doing for your daughter because when she gets older, she's going to be like, man, I want to now that I know how my father was with me, I want to do the same with my kids, I want to keep that legacy. I want to keep that, that relationship. So, brother, I got to be honest, I'm really proud of you. I want to tell you that. I think you're doing amazing things.
yeah, I heard someone talk about the fact that, like, really, unless you're like a celebrity or something like that, your legacy is you're only remembered for two generations. It's like your kids remember you and their kids remember you, but what do you know about your great grandpa? Probably not a whole lot. And so and to a lot of people that's depressing, but to me, I just think, okay, then that's great. Then you got to make the two generations that count. You got to financially set up your daughter so that she or your kids so that they can be successful. There are very rare instances of first generation multimillionaires. Typically, if you can give a little bit of money to your kid is smart and they do the right thing with the money, they can turn it into something good. That's typically, what happens. Emotionally, if you can leave her emotionally whole, where she's not entering relationships damaged or whatever, from her parents, at least. You can't control, boys and girls for sons, but and so just try to put her into the world as whole of a human being as I can, is what I make my favorite phrase is, you can't take it with you, right? All the money in the world, you can't take it with you, but what you can leave is like these memories. People are like, oh, you can't believe you spent $1,000 at this little lounge buying drinks. Well, you know what? The people that were with me had the best night of their life. And we have memories that we're going to share forever. And we have photos that we're going to share forever. And when I'm long gone, whoever was with me that night will probably remember something we happened that night, the time we spent together. They will remember how they felt, how I made them feel, how the people that I was with made them feel. And the way you make people feel is worth every well, to a certain point, is worth, the money. And so, I can't take it with me. It doesn't mean that I'm spending recklessly. I think that I've been accused of that, by my ex and even some of my friends. But Man, to get experiences with my friends and to create memories and take photos with my friends is worth a lot of money to me. To take vacations with my daughter and to take her out of the country. It's not that I'm trying to show off that I can take my daughter to Europe or I could take my daughter to Australia. It's that we have pictures and photos of memories that she's going to remember when I'm long gone, and she's going to show her kids those photos when I'm long gone. And I like the idea that what I'm doing is outlasting my lifetime and it will roll into hers, and that's something that money can't do. And I have such a emphasis in my life on experiences and the way I make people feel and the way people feel about themselves when they leave me. Like, I make it a point, I don't care who you are, I don't care if you're someone that dislikes me the most or that I dislike. I don't ever want someone leaving an interaction with me feeling worse about themselves than they did when they went into that interaction, or coming away from a memory of an evening that's worse. That I want to have positive interactions with everyone that I talk to. Good example is I had a parent teacher conference with my ex-wife and her husband yesterday. We haven't been in the same room in 5 years. We haven't ever talked together in probably 12 years. It's been a long time, right? But it was really important to me, despite my dislike for them, that I show up in front of my daughter in a positive way so that everyone left feeling a positive interaction. You know what? The funny thing is, I walked out of there thinking to myself, man, can you imagine if we didn't dislike each other for 12 years and we acted like we did in that room for that minute where we came into solidarity for my daughter? Can you imagine how much better my daughter's life would have actually been? And it actually makes me feel a little guilty that we haven't been able to figure a way to work it out and to be better co-parents for my daughter. But it's just an example of, even at your worst, darkest, most uncomfortable hour, focusing. I feel like I'm not telling people what to do because I don't think I have the market cornered on positivity, but I feel like having the mental mindset that every interaction you want to leave more positive, more happy. And when we're out socially with my friends, I just love creating those situations. I love the meetings and the collisions, we call them at work, the collisions between people and lives and stories and love lives and marriage, how many kids and how many marriages and stuff are because of people that I've brought together. And I want that to be my legacy. I want people to remember me as someone who not necessarily was spending a ton of money on parties and going out and stuff. I want them to remember me as someone who was a memory creator and someone that made them feel good about themselves, because you can't buy that. You can't. That I can buy a situation, I could put us into a table, I can create a cool place, but the way we interact and when we talk and the way that I reach out in times of need, that's what matters to me. And because that the way you feel matters to me. So that's again a long-winded response to your question, but yeah, it's more than party, and it's hard in Vegas. You see guys popping bottles and sparklers, and there's girls everywhere and stuff, and you're like, oh, that guy must be really happy. And then you find a little bit more about that guy, and you find out they're like the saddest dude ever. They do it because they're, I don't know, whatever the reason is, right?
Right,
I,
right.
I have a little bit of an ulterior motive, and that's just bringing my friends together and creating an experience that they couldn't have. That's how I run, my life. That's why the parties that I throw, it's not just about throwing a party. That's great, but it's creating an experience, giving people things to do, um, putting enough spaces for people to meet and talk and enjoy each other's company. You find that theme throughout my entire life, whether it be in my backyard grabbing a cigar and a drink at a movie night, to a big party I throw, to an event at a club, to just bringing people and my friends who have kids, bringing them together with my daughter so they can become friends. It's kind of just connecting people and making people have a positive experience. It's kind of been the theme of my life, and everything I do is kind of centered um, in that thing. So
I love it, brother. I love it. Thank you for sharing. That's very, very deep and powerful. Looks like Zoom's about to kick me out, but real quick, guys, it's an honor to have Ben. Ben, thank you for coming on the show,
good to be.
guys. Anytime, anytime. Guys, this is the Outlet to Reality, the oldest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching! You know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the Outlet to Reality. My Snapchat's Take One Pass It, and my TikTok is at Yakov28. And Brother Ben, where can my fans find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Vegas Ben.
Yeah.